online fantasy sports company Dream 11 winning the title rights for IPL 2020 after putting in a bid of roughly 222 crore rupees. They've also beat bids from Byju's, Tata Sons and Unacademy to win those rights, which run for this season of IPL 2020. In its new avatar, it will be called the Dream 11 IPL. Now, the fantasy sports company's entry marks a huge drop in IPL's title sponsorship revenue, a drop of almost 50%, 49.5%. And earlier, Vivo had committed to paying 440 crores, a total, in fact, of 2,199 for 5 crores for 5 years, a deal that was, of course, paused for this year. Rika joining us with the latest on that big story. Rika, on the face of it, it would seem as though this is a big drop in revenue for the BCCI, but what are the big takeaways of this story?
Well, Ankita, BCCI will be happy in having got the value that they have, that is 222 crore rupees, though earlier Vivo was giving them about 440 crore a year, which means, as you mentioned, a sharp drop in revenue. But remember, these are COVID times, and a sponsor pulling out is not good news. Replacing one sponsor with another is very, very difficult. As we speak, many of the IPL teams are scrambling to lock in their sponsors. The BCCI has been able to do theirs, and it's good news overall for the league. This will be split 50-50 between the BCCI and the IPL franchises, which mean 111 crore rupees will be going to the IPL franchises, roughly about 20 crore rupees in their kitty. This is not the first time that Dream 11 has made its appearance on the Indian cricket platform. It has been associated with the IPL, of course not in the category of a title sponsor, but since 2018 it has been associated with Indian cricket, with IPL. It is also the fantasy platform for ICC. It is associated with NBA and several other sports. Even in New Zealand cricket, it sponsored the Super Smash. There were questions earlier raised about the credibility of this platform. Of course, there was a committee, a review committee formed within the BCCI, and they have given it a go-ahead. So I believe right now, even with a lower bid, it is a win-win situation for the BCCI and the sponsor.
All right, Rika, thanks very much indeed for that. Let's open this up to our panelists. Joining us on Newsbreak tonight, we have Joy Bhattacharya, cricket analyst. We're also being joined by Lloyd Mathias, business strategist and former VP of PepsiCo. Amrit Mathur, who's in fact advisor to the Federation of Indian Fantasy Sports. He's also been part of a committee that actually reviewed certain allegations against Dream 11, is with us tonight. Atul Vasan, former Indian cricketer, with us as well. Atul Vasan, let me begin by asking you, we had this very dramatic scenario where Vivo pulled out as title sponsor at a time when there was all this negativity over, its Chinese ownership coming at that time in the India-China border row. And now there are all those questions being raised again when people are saying, well, Dream 11 is no different, and one of its stakeholders is Tencent, which is also Chinese. So what has changed?
Yeah, I'm also surprised, actually, if that connection was the reason for Vivo to pull out, then anybody with the Chinese connection should have been disqualified. And I'm really surprised. I thought maybe in this time where there's no live sporting action, some brands will lap it up because it's a sure shot maximization of eyeballs because people will watch it. The percentage of people watching in the ground is hardly any percentage to make a dent in the revenues. But I'm surprised that the board actually, because of the paucity of time, I can imagine. But I'm sure board must be evaluating some legal action and find a clause where under which clause they are pulled out and probably salvage some money there. But eventually the show has to go on. Franchises will take a hit for sure. But in these times, anything that is coming my way as a fan, as a former cricketer, and as the people who probably feel that IPL is part of their calendar, will take it. And it's for the board to find out how they can make the shortfall. But the revenue model and all that, Joy and other people are more qualified to speak about that. But I'm just happy that cricket will be on live.
All right, cricket will be on live, you and a lot of other people, Atul Vasan. But Lloyd Mathias, beyond the revenue question of it, and, it's arguable that this is only literally for 4 months because you have the next edition of the IPL coming up in, less than 6 months now. What about approaching this from the brand value that Dream 11 brings to the table? If this was indeed about, Vivo's Chinese ownership and it was seen as, a certain negativity being associated with the IPL, with Vivo being the title sponsor, has that significantly changed by Dream 11 coming on board?
Thanks, Ankita. I think two aspects. I think one is clearly the fact that, Dream 11 won this bid, and both the other bidders, Unacademy and Byju's, are both from the new economy, digital economy sector, I think is a great sign of the times. To the point just made about the Chinese connection, I think you have to recognize that in a globalized world, companies will have investors from across the world, right? So there are vast swathes of companies in India today that have, some Chinese ownership. As I understand, clearly Dream 11 is an Indian-owned, Indian-incorporated company. They certainly do have some stakeholding by Tencent, which is a Chinese company, but it's vastly different from, let's say, having Vivo as a title sponsor, which was an out-and-out Chinese brand. So in that sense, it helps the board save face. This is, let's say, an Indian company. I think in a sense, it was a fire sale. So getting 220 odd crores, which is roughly half the normal price of what Vivo would have paid at this last minute. Yeah, just given the leverage, the time to leverage it is great. So I think on the whole, it's a kind of face-saving but a win-win situation.
But we had the BCCI, Lloyd Mathias, we had the BCCI talk about how the highest bidder would not necessarily get the title sponsorship. I mean, they went on record to say they were going to consider a lot of factors, and the viewer experience would be one of those things, and the brand and the values associated with the brand would also be taken on board. You had someone like Tata Sons in the running, and there were all these reports talking about how they were, definitely one of the front runners, and then in the end, we're not hearing anything about Tata Sons at all. So what happened there?
Ankita, as I understand, the Tatas did express interest at the earlier stage, but didn't put in a final bid. So the final three bidders really were Dream 11, Unacademy, and Byju's. Right. And in a sense, all these three new economy companies, to my mind, would have some form of Chinese kind of stakeholding, right? So the Tatas would have been ideally a great sponsor, but sadly, they didn't put in a final bid, is my understanding.
Amrit Mathur, you've actually sort of, you have a very good idea of what Dream 11 is all about. It's obviously a highly successful startup. It became a unicorn in 2019, but it's also faced allegations about sort of, well, almost, it's been talked about in the same breath as a betting platform. Would the IPL, which has faced its own share of allegations along those lines, see this as the best brand to be associated with?
Well, I think that issue of betting or in fantasy sports, that's been pretty well settled in law. There have been multiple cases in the courts, in the High Court, in the Supreme Court, where it's been established that Dream 11 in fantasy sports are games of skill and not chance. So there's a clear distinction between what is betting and what is legitimate legal fantasy sports. So I think that issue is sort of settled in law, and only on that basis has the ICC, the IPL, the CPL, the various other sports bodies have engaged with fantasy sports operators like Dream 11. So I think I don't think there's any need to worry on that aspect of the relationship between Dream 11 and the IPL.
Okay, Joy Bhattacharya, would you agree with that assessment as someone who's sort of been, closely associated with an earlier avatar of a fantasy league as well?
Yeah, I would. To be honest with you, I mean, you are choosing 11 players. It's not like you're picking a winner out of 5 or something like that. It's far more a game of skill. It takes time. If you have to do it well, it takes a huge amount of time to make a team, put it together and start winning. Their strategies involved. So definitely, I don't see problems on that score. And again, the kind of thing that you look at what international sport is happening. So fantasy sport is not just in India. So if you consider fantasy sport, there is very definitely fantasy sport around the world, and there's betting. Mm-hmm. And the two are not similar. I mean, and that this distinction has been fairly clearly established in India. So whichever way I look at them, looking at this as a betting, with anything to do with betting is not something I think will fly under the circumstances. I think it's fair to say that there's enough skill out there to warrant it not being in that category.
Okay. Let's in fact get that graphic on our screens up about, a little more about Dream 11, because maybe not all our viewers know about it. This is a Mumbai-based company. It's a pay-to-play platform. Players select sites for fees. Part of that playing fee then goes towards a prize pot. The rest of it goes back to the company. Founded by Harsh Jain, Bhavik Patel in 2019 was when it became a unicorn, a startup valued at $1 billion or more. So a very successful instance of India's startup sector in that sense. But it's also had a very close association with cricket. It sponsored the one of the franchises in the first Champions League. They've been the official fantasy cricket platform with the ICC, and now they're going to have the same status with the IPL as well. Joy Bhattacharya, do you see that? Do you see this as a bigger gain in that sense for Dream 11 as a company?
Yeah, look, I think they are putting a lot out there, because I think already they were looking at millions of subscribers all over India. They are already the official fantasy game of the IPL, so that hasn't changed really. And it's interesting that the next step that they're taking is to actually sponsor it, because it takes them to, obviously they're looking at that 4, 5, 6 million mark of subscribers is no longer what they're looking at. They're looking at 20, 30, 40 million. So they're looking at, anyone who's paying this kind of money to be involved in involved in the IPL is looking for growth which is exponential, because the money doesn't justify it otherwise. What I'm also interested in is that how you can have a one-year deal, because that makes it very, very difficult for any company to leverage it over any point in time. And I think Lloyd would tell you that it's very difficult for companies to look at 1 year and say that, okay, I'm going to do it for this year, and next year you go back to the same terms. So I can only believe that what the BCCI is doing is saying, I'm going to get this now, and then next year I'm going to go, once this is over, I get some money for it, I can go and catch the Vivo and ask them about this. Because what Vivo cannot do is cherry pick which years they want to come on board and when they don't want to come on board.
Right.
Because the IPL didn't tell them to get off board.
But let me flip that around actually and say, well, this might be for just this year, but does it set a benchmark when you're talking about 222 crores, when the earlier figure was, double that? Lloyd Mathias, has IPL in a sense undersold itself? Was Vivo's bid then too much to begin with if they're willing to settle for 220 crores? And what sort of effect would that have in later years?
Great question, Ankita. I think one has to look at the fact that this year is unique. I think the pandemic has, really kind of put a lot of businesses in the dock. So in a sense, it's a kind of, a last minute fire sale, and that sense is good. But more importantly, I think why BCCI has done well, if you look at the economics of the IPL, the big chunk comes in from the broadcast sponsorship, right? So $2.5 billion that Star pays, about 5,000 crores a year, that comes in straight from Star. So in that sense, the title sponsorship is a relatively smaller bit. So while sponsors have got a kind of 50% reduction from 440 to 220, and each of the 8 franchisees will, let's say, get their takings halved, the fact that the IPL is going to happen and is going to be played in a third country and is going to be run live on, on Star Sports through September, October, November, building up to Diwali, I think is a great sign. So the BCCI actually has really not dented the value of the IPL. It's actually, helped all around.
All right. We leave it at that. Thank you very much indeed, all of you, for joining us.
Can I just add something here?
Yes. Go ahead, Atta, very quickly.
No, quickly. But I just say, Amrit touched on that quasi grey area of gambling. And I think we should review it. And BCCI also should be very careful, because Fantasy League, even in USA, it was banned in New York, all the fantasy games, because it was under the gaming law review. And only last year, when the sports betting was legalized in New York, then they were allowed to do. Even under UK, pooling bets and all these fantasy leagues comes under the gambling law preview. And even in India, the federal law says that in 5 states you can't play. So that means there is an issue there.
Amrit Mathur, you had one very quick last comment to make.
Yeah, one quick point. I think one point which we are missing is this deal shows the importance of the digital space in sports nowadays.
Yeah.
It shows the changing profile of the fan. He's not just the fan who's at the stadium or watching play on television. Today, the fan is an active participant who uses experience and knowledge of the sport to get more deeply engaged with the sport. So I think this also shows the power of the fan and the changing profile of the fan, that he's wanting to get engaged with the sport.
Right.
And the sports administrators recognize this.
Yes.
And that's why they are in turn partnering with platforms like Dream 11.
So the BCCI, you're saying, is living up to that promise of making the fan experience better by taking Dream 11 on
it's
board.
recognition of the power of the fan and the changing profile of the fan.
Interesting thought there. All right. Thank you very much indeed.